Hello, my fellow Whovians and subscribers, and welcome to my latest Doctor Who review, where today I continue the reviews of the Matt Smith era as we come to the end, or near the end, of Series 6 of the new series of Doctor Who, The God Complex, which is the 222nd Doctor Who story, I believe, and it, of course, stars Matt Smith as the 11th Doctor, and this is also the 11th episode of Series 6. So, the plot of this story is as follows. The Doctor, Amy and Rory investigate a hotel of horror where repeat business is low, but the body count is high, where a mighty monster stalks the corridors and the rooms hold visions of angels, apes and creepy clowns. Who or what has brought them to this place? Can the Doctor solve the mystery before the residents check out in grisly style? So, the God Complex, well. I went into the God Complex after having not seen this story for years. I hadn't seen this story for at least 7 years. I mean, I couldn't remember that much about it before watching it today. And, of course, Series 6 has proven to be well, you can see by my reviews. I've not thought that highly of it. There's only been a couple of stories that I've really, up to this point, really sort of taken a shine to. I have to say, the God Complex, it's not a good story. It's a great story. I love this story. I think the God Complex is amazing. It is absolutely brilliant. It's so much better than I remembered it to be. I think maybe at the time I first saw it, I didn't quite understand it, but I get it now. I get what the story was trying to do. This is a great story. It is fantastic, and I wish the whole series was like this. What's really interesting is the script, and I think the script has so much depth. It's written by Toby Whithouse, and honestly, his writing for this story is brilliant. The idea of belief and faith and resisting, those themes are really the center of this story. We have everybody tempted by what's inside these hotel rooms, and they have to try to resist whatever is in there in order to stay alive. And the main, villain, I should say, is not really a villain. This Minotaur, who they kind of treat sympathetically, really. This Minotaur has been kind of, he's on this alien prison ship, which is disguised as a hotel, and he's going around killing everybody because it's in his natural instincts, and that's how he's been living his life. Assuming it's a he, that's how the creature has been living his life. I don't know what gender it is. And we discover that, he's sick and tired of it. He doesn't want to keep killing everyone and everything. He's tired of all the bloodshed, and he just wants to die. And I thought that was a very beautiful way to write the story. I thought it was a very interesting spin on the whole idea. I mean, it's not just a monster for the sake of being a monster. He's actually, or she, depending on what gender it is treated very sympathetically, and the Doctor honours the wishes of the Minotaur. And this all ties in quite cleverly to the whole reason why the Doctor, Amy and Rory have been brought to this place, because I think the TARDIS drew them there because of Amy's faith in the Doctor. And in the climax of the story, the Doctor says to Amy, because she goes into a room and sees a younger version of herself, he says to Amy, stop having faith in me and, stop relying on me. This is all kind of, in a way, foreshadowing Amy and Rory's exit, which will happen a bit later down the line. I thought it was a very beautiful ending. I thought the ending of this story was really emotional, and it was a really great way to sort of tie the themes up, and it really does feel like the Doctor as well is learning to let go of Amy and Rory, or at least he's trying to, because in the end of the story he drops them off. He decides to give them a house and a car, and he leaves them. And basically he says, "Oh, I'll see you again," and everything, but we know that the Doctor is trying to avoid his death, and he's trying to come to terms with the fact that he's going to die at Lake Silencio, which we saw at the very beginning of the series, but he basically is trying to save Amy and Rory because he doesn't want to deal with any more heartbreak and any more suffering. He doesn't want his companions to have to deal with any more of that. I mean, it's not the last time we'll see Amy and Rory. We'll see them in Series 7. They will leave the show in Series 7. But as of now, as of this particular story in Series 6, it is assumed that this is it for Amy and Rory. But of course, we will see them again. It's just, for now, this is it. Like I said, I love that scene when he says to her, "Forget your faith in me, Amelia Williams," or Amy Williams. He calls her Amy Williams, He's he's having to sort of say to her, you spent your whole life waiting for me, stop waiting for me. And and go and live your life and be yourself. You don't need me all the time. And again, it's a great way to tie up the themes of the story, but it's also a great way to foreshadow what comes later with Amy and Rory's exit from the show. So I think the writing for this story is excellent, and it's very clever. And the great thing about the God complex is that the tone is really creepy. It's a really cool idea. It's quite a simple idea when you think about it, but there's actually a lot more substance to the script. They do a lot with the idea. And we've got these other supporting characters in the story. The first of which is Rita, played by Amara Karen. She's very good. She's a nurse, and she goes into a room and sees a vision of her father berating her for getting a B in her exams, which is interesting. And there's a creepiness because every time they go into the rooms, we hear them say praise him, and we cut to these shots of characters laughing and then crying, and it's a really weird sort of moment there. But it's them trying to sort of resist everything and trying not to let emotions overcome them in that situation. And the other guy who's called Howie, who sadly dies in the story, he goes into a room and sees all these pretty girls looking at him and laughing at him. But he's also into conspiracies and everything like that, and he is a nerd. And then we've got David Walliams is in this story, who plays Gibbous, this sort of, I guess he's this kind of cat-looking creature. I don't quite know exactly what kind of an alien he is. And he believes that everyone who comes to the hotel is just telling him what to do to sort of get out. And there's another character called Joe, who's tied up for most of the story, and he's a gambler. So what connects all of these characters is the fact that they have faith and they believe in something. And that is what is clever about this story, is that they found a way for all these characters, including the Dr. Amy and Rory, to be sort of tied together and relate to the monster, the Minotaur. And I think it's really clever how each of them, have something there which links in and really and connects them on an emotional level and on a personal level to what's going on. And it's a way of them being tested, with their fear. It's whether they can reject the fear and fall back on their faith. If they believe that they will get through it. And I think it's a clever idea. It's a really interesting plot. The music by Murray Gold is very good and hits the emotional beats on most levels. My one tiny nitpick I would have to say is probably the pace. I think maybe the pace is a little bit slow in the middle, but it's not too much of a detriment because the story is very engrossing. I also think the death of Rita hits quite hard, and the Doctor seems to take it really quite badly, and he trashes the hotel. He trashes the hotel lobby, and he gets really angry about that, which is a real shame. Rita chooses to give in and sacrifice herself, which is a real shame for her character, but yeah, powerful moment of acting from Matt Smith. And the fact that the story is called The God Complex is almost referring to the Doctor, because there's a scene with the Doctor and Rita where she says to him, "Oh, you've got a bit of a God complex," so indicating that he's the one that sort of she says, "Oh, why does it fall on you to sort of get us out of this situation?" Which I think is an interesting point. The Doctor just kind of appoints himself to go in and save everybody in these situations, but I guess Rita didn't want to be saved, and I think that's the sad thing about her character. She gave in, and she didn't think there was any hope, and I guess there was too much fear in her. And I have to say, the prosthetics on the Minotaur look really, really good and look really freaky, and we don't see it too often, mainly towards the end. And I appreciate that it was practical and not CGI, and it's a real treat to look at. I mean, considering that it's 10 years old now, I think it's aged quite well. Although I'd have to say there is one point when someone dressed as a gorilla appears. I mean, that looks a bit silly, but I'll let it go. It's a minor thing. But yeah, the God Complex. This is a really good Doctor Who story, and I think it was really clever the way the story was written. And I think this is definitely one of Matt Smith's best stories, actually. And probably, unless the next two prove me wrong, this could be the crowning jewel of Series 6. Not that there's much competition in quality of Series 6. So, to round it all off, I'm going to give the God Complex a 10 out of 10. yeah, I was blown away. I thought, wow, this is really good, and I really hoped that the rest of the series would be like this. Sadly not. So anyway, that's my review of The God Complex. What do you think of this story? Please comment down below, let me know. And stay tuned next time when I review Closing Time, which will see the return, sort of the Cybermen. But mainly, we see the return of James Corden, who played Craig Owens in The Lodger. God knows why. But anyway, stay tuned for that review coming next time. So thank you very much all for watching. And as always, I'm Mr. Tarnus11. See ya. Bye for now.